honored to be up here this morning and talk about my dreams. John Ralph Mattson, who was this man? Gray hair, flat top, flannel shirt, a white holy sweat-stained Hanes t-shirt, blue dicky pants, white tube socks, and those black Mason shoes. And everyone take a deep breath as we remember his trademark aroma. I think it was a combination of Oreos, Ho-Hos, A&W root beer milk. He was the model of consistency. Or was he just stubborn? Or did he get a huge discount by purchasing a truckload of each item? Could he throw a ball or swing a bat or golf club? Could he run? Never saw. What was his talent? I believe his gift was the gift of gab. He'd start, well, you know. His latest news story was so important that he needed to tell you at least every time he saw you, until the next story came along. His hobby was stirring the pot. He loved to say things to get people going, especially my mom. You see his eyes light up. Getting one now. Does he poke the bear? He even managed to look the same ever since I could remember, with only a few added wrinkles. Was it because he never ate pizza or tacos? Growing up, he was this mysterious old guy I called Grandpa. To me, he was the guy that lived with me, Mom, and was always going to work. He would come home with his classic lunchbox and his thermos full of milk. The guy that made sure every grandkid had a coin-proof set for the year they were born. He was the guy that hid the good cookies and kept the cookie jar full of the cheap, nasty ones. If you wanted a root beer, you had to go through me, Mom. As I got older, I got to snowball with him. I don't know why I remember that, but I remember snowballing all the time with him. And then I made my first dollar scrapping out copper in the backyard, working for my dad's company. We swam together once. It was also the only time I ever saw him in shorts. I was able to hunt with him for a few years. He came to my dad's place in the UP to hunt for just one season. He woke up at the crack of 7:30, was in the woods by 8, and shot his buck by 9. That is a true story. Most memorable was him telling an old story, and he was laughing harder than I'd ever seen him laugh. Where he gets that laugh going, and his whole belly's shaking. You didn't see it very often, but it was fun. In 2013, my family and I were tired of the state park camping scene and gave in to Gramps nagging to park our trailer at his place. So we staked our claim on the large site, complete with electric and sewer. It was just west of the 4 storage sheds, next to the abandoned mobile home. It was a safe distance from the old trailer with the creepy dolls inside. South of the mobile was Grandpa's shack, built with pride with his own bare hands, and had the metal storm door that when it slammed shut would warn you that he was coming outside. Boy, there was a lot of stuff. I was nervous in the beginning, but we soon settled in. Friday we'd get up there and it'd be campfires, and he would stay out till 11, which I thought was good, but he had to be in by 11 in time for the news. Saturday for us was for being fishing and lazy. Grandpa, at 86 years old at the time, spent Saturday morning still at the flea market. He would be gone by 7 a.m. One Sunday I made waffles and brought him one. He was hooked. Every Saturday evening we would have the same conversation. Are you making waffles? Yeah, Gramps. What time will they be ready? Time to eat breakfast, Gramps? Well, usually about 9. I'll have your waffle delivered to you. Okie dokie. One weekend, my parents and brother and family they were all up for the weekend. We did a big camping thing up there, and we were making breakfast on Sunday, and he wandered over. It was after 9. And he's wondering where his waffle was. So my waffles weren't ready, and Melissa had been making waffles and offered him one of hers. Nope. I'll wait for one of the round ones. One of Steve Jr.'s. Sorry about that. Was he stubborn or consistent? We spent a lot of time sitting around the fire, and a few times we would get to hear what I refer to as the good stuff. These were the stories of his childhood, growing up in Escanaba, Michigan, in the UP there. Hey. They lived in, I guess, what was called no man's land. After the Depression. They settled in this strip of land between the railroad tracks and the water. The train yard was their playground. They would literally play on the trains, run on the trains. And when he got older, they would hop the trains to town to go to the show, as he called it. Or sneak up on his dad in the bar, I guess. The craziest story when he was around 12, and him and his friends put together a makeshift sail and attached it to a rowboat and took it out on Bay to Knock at 12. Bay to Knock, blew my mind. He joined the military, as you know, was sent to Japan. His brother apparently was already in Japan, and he surprised him, showed up in Japan. Hey, here I am. And that's, I believe, where he got his first taste of buying and selling goods at the expense of Uncle Sam. Selling his ration of cigarettes, trading a box of laundry soap with the locals, and in return they washed and pressed his clothes for him. In 47, he married Dorothy Colgrove. Did he ever tell her, I love you? Or did he just laugh and say, okay, yep. Maybe he did say those words just for her. Eventually they settled in Wyoming, lived there for several years on Duke Avenue, and he talked about his days at Kelvinator. He was offered a buyout to retire early, so in his mid-50s he retired. He retired with a monthly retirement payment and free lifetime health care. I think he got the better end of that, which is unheard of today. And of course, I don't think he ever saw a doctor until he was 80. After retirement, he realized an hour a day of general hospital was not enough to keep him busy. So he started the family business. He bought a truck and set up shop in the Studio 28 flea market. He started selling the trendy toys. If a grandkid wanted a skateboard, he would lovingly and willingly give it to you. Not for free, not at cost, but at a discount. He softened over the years, and the great grandkids actually would get their skateboards for free. It was a career which would cover nearly 30 years, longer than he worked in his real job. You'd never get out of him how much he made after a day of selling. It was either a good day or, it was slow. They moved to Irons in 95. He somehow got his hands on a Hoop Street sign. And he put it on the driveway off Inlaw Lane. So now, if you Google 2143 DeHoop, Irons, Michigan, the address he had in Wyoming, Michigan, it will take you to his place in Irons. So Google Maps came through there and actually put it on the map. For several years, he managed to take care of Grandma until the Alzheimer's was too much for him trying to take care of her. He continued to live there on his own and refused to leave. While camping at Grandpa's, I eventually learned the organizational system that was his place. The red metal shed and the 2 enclosed trailer is flea market stock. The small blue shed was for tools. The third shed was the well pump, and the final shed was the things he had just held on to over the years. The living room and the abandoned mobile still looked the way Grandma had left it. Complete with the pictures on the walls of her kids and grandkids. The dining room still kept the table where he had had so many family meals. It also had the washer and dryer, and he told me he would sit in Grandma's chair and watch TV while he was waiting for the laundry to dry. He would stack and organize his boxes and come back to them falling on the ground. That was Grandma messing with him, we can say. That old travel trailer, they used to spend winters in Florida, take the occasional camping trip, and the creepy dolls inside were actually my grandma's doll collection that he'd help her make. He missed Grandma and was holding tight to her memory. It was a lot of that stuff, a lot of stuff, but most of that stuff had a story. And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full, I've traveled each and every highway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Regrets I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do and saw through it without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I can chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall. I did it my way. I've loved, I've laughed and cried. I've had my fill, my share of losing, and now as tears subside, I find it all so amusing. To think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way. Oh no, no, not me.